Shalom to Rabbi Warren Goldstein, the Chief Rabbi of South Africa.
Yes, shalom to you and to all of your viewers.
So the big Shabbat, the International Shabbat, the Shabbat project, keeping it together, is coming. It's the end of this week. Tell us about the excitement, the preparations.
Okay, great. There's been an amazing people's movement that has been that's really sprung up all around the world. From really, we just started talking about the project in earnest about 7-8 months ago when we released the first major video about it, and since then we've got groups working in more than 350 cities in 35 countries around the world. It's quite astonishing what has happened, and the beauty is that these communities are all taking responsibility and driving it and owning the project. And obviously, from the center we're providing educational material and marketing material, which has been translated into 8 languages, in English and Hebrew and French and Spanish, Portuguese, German, Italian, Russian. And when you think about what 350 cities actually means, we're talking about everywhere, right across South America, Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo and Rio and Mexico City and Panama City, across the United States, almost 100 cities. Talking about the usual places, like New York and Los Angeles and Chicago and Miami, and then Mountain Back, Alabama, Ben Salem, Pennsylvania.
What do you find that draws people to actually come and find interest in keeping the Shabbat and observing the Shabbat? What intrigues people?
I think that there are 2 driving forces behind this, because you've put your finger on it. It's really the fact that this project has a natural energy. So often when working in projects in a community space, it's a big effort and it's a slog, and you're begging people and you're asking them to join. Here it's the reverse. People have been flooding in. They desperately want to be part of it. There's a natural energy. So where does that natural energy come from? I think two places to answer your question. One is from the deep desire that there is for Jewish unity. I think for people it is very special, this notion that Am Yisrael is coming together in unity. I mean, I was here in Israel with my family a few months ago during the war. We heard the azakot, the sirens, and experienced a little bit of what Israel went through, but also felt the tremendous unity here in the country and tremendous international Jewish unity. But that was a unity which was forced from the outside. It was a unity that was imposed upon us by the hatred of others and by force of circumstance. What the Shabbat project provides is an opportunity for Jews to unify out of choice, out of love, out of ideals, out of who we are, and I think that's very meaningful to people. So I think that's the one driving force. The other is the power of Shabbat as a mitzvah for today's times. That there in modern life there is so much pressure, which is actually leads to the dislocation of life through technology and all kinds of other financial and the sheer pace of modern life, that leads to the fragmentation of community, of family, even of the individual psyche. And Shabbat comes in with a force of unity. So when we're talking about the slogan, keeping it together, it's on multiple levels. It's keeping it together as Am Yisrael, as the Jewish people all around the world, but it's also keeping the family together, keeping the individual together. Shabbos has this force of unity that it brings to the human psyche.
And the title is keeping it together, not just being together on Shabbat. It's nice to be together for a meal, but actually observing the precepts, the mitzvot of Shabbat.
Yeah, at the heart and soul of the philosophy of the Shabbat project is to really share the magnificence of the gift of what Shabbat is. It's a magnificent gift that God gave us. Like in Hebrew, that expression, Eze Yofi Shel Matana. And the way that one experiences the gift is actually by keeping it. Because you take, for example, this issue of modern life. How do you really taste and get a sense of the experience of the power of an experience of a family sitting together? Only by keeping it, because when you're keeping Shabbat, then you're not driving, then you're not using your phone, you're not switching on the television. The real power and the magic of the experience is when it's an authentic, true experience in the real ancient traditional meaning of what Shabbat really is.
We won't start a halachic discussion here, but I guess you probably get questions like, okay, I'll observe some of the main precepts, but I won't why do I have to do everything? Why do I have to not turn on the light? Things like that. And you're teaching people that it's a package deal.
You know what I think is, and this is, was our experience in South Africa when this project started a year ago. And when it started a year ago, there were no plans to expand it to the world. It was just going to be in the South African Jewish community, which, as you know, there are about 75,000 Jews, the vast majority of whom, don't generally keep Shabbat. But the outpouring of emotion of people who kept it for the first time, saying, I had people saying to me, listen, they sat around with their families. There's, a friend of mine, Steve Broder, for example, he's a young guy with a young family, and he said to me, it was the first time their family sat together. There was no interruptions. He's got young kids. The friends came over to play. No one was running to their iPads and to the television. And what holds the experience together is the authenticity of it. So when you start you're taking things away from it, where do you draw the line? Then you lose the whole experience. It was so funny. The other day, someone was busy telling me that they had such an amazing time with their children, it was a young father with young children, and he said, it was so amazing. The week after the Shabbat project last year in Johannesburg, he said he wanted to have the same time with his family, but he didn't feel up to keeping the Shabbat, so he tried to set it up again so that the family could connect, but it just wasn't the same thing because it wasn't Shabbat. And so it's the magnificence of that experience. We're saying to people, listen, it's a new experience. Try it. It's really about saying, listen, here it is, and just enjoy it and experience it for what it is in the most authentic way.
So there's the campaign. You're explaining to people about the importance of Shabbat, the idea of keeping it together. But in terms of the activity, are we going to see things on the field in the next few days?
Yeah, throughout the world, it's amazing what is going on throughout the world, because there are a lot of activities associated with the Shabbat project. It's about keeping it, but there's a lot of things around it. So, for example, on Thursday night, throughout the world, there's going to be mass hafrashat challah. With women gathering, and it's not so much about the mitzvah of hafrashat challah as much as it's saying the Shabbat project begins with the power of women, because it is the women throughout Jewish history that have been at the forefront of so much innovation. If you think about it, and good things, it was Sarah who told Avraham, to favor Yitzchak, and it was Rivka who understood that it had to go through Yaakov, etc. Throughout our history, and it was Miriam, who advised her parents to stay together and to come back together, and that led to the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, and right to modern times, women have been at the forefront at key moments of Jewish history. The Shabbat project is a key moment of Jewish history. It needs to start with women. So Thursday night throughout the world, in many of these 350 cities, there will be many of them, if not most, there will be hafrashat challah from starting in Sydney and Melbourne as you move across the various time zones throughout the world. Mass gatherings of thousands of women. I mean, I know that in Johannesburg, for example, last year there were more than 2,500 women. This year the numbers are looking to be close to 5,000 women probably who are going to be coming together, and there's a tremendous koach and energy that comes from that. Also, in many places throughout the world, there's going to be Havdalah concerts, and then throughout the Shabbat itself, there will be, many of the communal centers are arranging communal meals, but also, and this is the important thing, Shabbat happens in these events, but it actually happens also in the personal space of one's own home. And we mustn't forget that, because one doesn't have to be out there in a communal event in order to experience the magic of Shabbos, and that's where I think a lot of it is happening, particularly here in Israel. So many people that I've bumped into over the last few days that I've been here, and I came just to talk about the Shabbos project here, and individual people, totally. Who've never kept Shabbat before in their lives, saying to me, I bumped into a very senior journalist in the elevator the other day, one of the top editors in Israel, and he said he's going to be keeping his first Shabbat, and he's going to be with some friends, and he's looking forward to it. And so many people are actually just deciding to do it on their own, because you don't need anything. You can actually just put it together yourself. That's the beauty. It's lo b'shamayim here, as the verse says, v'lo ma'evel hayam. It's not in the heavens, and it's not across the ocean. Ki karov alecha davar ma'od. It's very, very close. It's within us all to do. It's easy. It's there.
So now you're in Israel, and around the world, people are sometimes disconnected. They're farther away from Israel, from the Jewish people, and they want to connect to something. Do you find that it's harder in Israel to tell people, come on, keep it together?
You know what? I've heard that conventional wisdom time and time again. People all said, no, it's not going to work in Israel. People won't be interested. There's going to be opposition to it. There's going to be cynicism, and I can tell you, I have not found that. I think that the conventional wisdom about Israel is 100% dead wrong. I sense here a spirit in this country where there's a real thirst for Jewish unity and a real thirst for Jewish values and a thirst for Shabbat. Actually, you take out all of the politics of what goes on, and people, there's a natural energy. And if you want to go have a look, you have a look at the Facebook page, the Israeli part of the Facebook page, and you will see the most positive comments. You have people saying, "Eze kef," it's so fun to keep Shabbat, and "Eze kef shosim et ze b'chol tfutzot ha'olam," that everyone's doing it in all different parts of the world. And you can see the energy. You want to see the energy of what's going on in Israel, you go have a look at the Facebook page, and there you'll see real people who are really enjoying and are really, really excited about this. And I think it's time that Israeli society is now ready to move on, and there's a new spirit in this country, and I'm so optimistic about that new spirit, and I've just so enjoyed being here for these days to feel the spirit on the ground as people are embracing this more and more.
Rabbi Warren Goldstein, Rabbi of South Africa, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a great joy to be with you.
And Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom to you and to all of your viewers.